Number one, start with the end in mind. Who are you called to reach? Like I said before, what are your goals? I know for me, when I just started writing. I got so excited, I just started writing. And it took me longer to come back and kind of get myself organized. I had an outline, but I wasn't sure of what I really was trying to communicate. And so you want your chapters in your book to flow. You want them to kind of have a common theme through. And so I had to go back and like put the theme in there because I kind of just wrote randomly. I didn't have a real goal. I knew I was coming to write a book, but I didn't take time to do the work in the beginning to say, am I trying to reach women? Am I trying to reach women and men? Am I trying to reach young women? Am I trying to reach kids? I didn't have that from the beginning. And so it made it a little bit harder for me. So that's what I would say to you, anyone who's trying to be a writer, is start with the end in mind and just know who your demographic is. It makes it easier in the process as you're writing if you kind of have that in mind already. And then I would say, remember why you started. Obviously, if you're like God's called you to do it, then that's a really good reason. But just remember, like, if like, for instance, my book was about my journey of discovering the unconditional, unfailing love of God, and just like our version of love versus God's version of love. And I remember when I was in that place where I felt loveless, when I felt insecure all the time, when I felt full of doubt and just purposeless, right? And so in writing my book, kind of going back to that place and seeing where I am today, it helped me to remember why I started. It helped me to stay focused. Like, no, there are people out there who may be in a similar space as me, and they need to hear what I have to say. And so that's why I kept going and kept moving forward in it. This is probably one of the biggest ones. Y'all, just write. I'm a perfectionist by nature. It's like ingrained in me from my mother. And so I would write a paragraph and then go back and try to edit it. So now I done spent 10 minutes writing it, and now I spent 20 minutes trying to edit it, and then I have no more motivation. Like, I lost all the creative energy and the flow that I had in the beginning when I was writing. So I would say just write. It doesn't matter if you forgot the comma, the period. Like, don't even worry about that. Just write. You can always edit it later. So you're going to pay someone probably to edit it for you anyway, especially your first draft. Just write it out. Have your outline, and as you're going through your outline, just write it. Nike says just do it. I'm going to say just write it. And like I said earlier, set aside time each day to write for at least 15, 30 minutes. Some people would even say an hour, but that may not be feasible for all of us, depending on where we are in life. So I would say at the beginning, just start 15, 30 minutes. No distractions. Put your phone away. Turn the TV off. And just write. If you got to go to a park and write, I wrote my book sometimes while sitting in my car at a park here in Dallas called White Rock Lake, and I could see the water, and I was just writing in my car, and it was so helpful for me. I really connect to nature, and so that's what inspired me. If you got to get a candle on, you got to put on like some light worship music, whatever it is for you, but set aside that time each day to write for at least 15 to 30 minutes. It really will help. Pray throughout the process. Pray, pray, pray. I would suggest praying before you write, praying while you're writing, and then praying after you finish writing for the day. It makes a huge difference when you invite the Holy Spirit into your writing, when you invite him into what you're doing, and you're continually submitting your ideas and your desires to the Lord. It's really helpful. And God will even begin to download things into you when you pray. You'll be writing, and all of a sudden you'll just have an idea, and it'll just flow. So even just praying that God would download his words into your spirit so you could type them out onto the page is super, 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 super helpful. Okay, this is a big one too. Don't compare your journey to other writers. So like I mentioned before, I have a lot of friends who are writers and have already published many books. And so I had a friend, she wrote her book in a week. And I kept comparing myself to her. I kept saying, well, so-and-so wrote her book in a week. It's taking me a year and I still haven't finished and blah, blah, blah. And it held me up, or even just, my favorite writers is Priscilla Shirer. And I kept thinking about, oh my gosh, but she said it so much better. And oh my God, I love how she articulates herself. That's not going to help. It's not going to help. God has called you to be the writer you're called to be. It's not going to be like anybody else. It's going to be unique to you. And so you can't compare yourself or compare your journey to anyone else. that may be a writer. This is a big one. Set realistic goals and follow through. That's why I said about the 15, 30 minutes, because for me, I was like, I'm gonna write for 2 hours. And then I get home from work and it's 8 o'clock and I haven't cooked dinner and all sorts of stuff. By the time I sit down, it's 9 o'clock and I'm sleepy. And I'm like, I can't write till 11 p.m. But then I felt defeated because I was like, man, I didn't meet my goal for the day. My goal was not realistic in that season. So set realistic goals and follow through with them. You know, if I'm a person who likes to see stuff, and so if you got to have like a whiteboard where you check off what you did that day, or you check off on a piece of paper, whatever, or on your phone, have a note thing up, but just setting those realistic goals is super, super helpful. And last but not least, this is really important. Just find trusted individuals who are willing to hold you accountable throughout the process. So community is so vital, because there are things that as a writer you're going to be going through and you think you're the only one, and you're not. And so whether it's sharing and saying, hey, y'all, hold me accountable to me do my 30 minutes and all you guys are checking in that day, or it's even just having someone to listen to your ideas that you're trying to filter through in your mind. It's really important that you have community and people that are going to hold you accountable. Not people that are going to let you slide by. Like, I have a best friend here in Fort Worth. She lives in Fort Worth. And she will call me and be like, did you write today? And I'm like, no. She's like, what are you doing? I'm watching Netflix. No, you're not. Get off Netflix and go do your writing. And then she'll text me 30 minutes later. Did you do your writing? Yes. She said, great. And so you want people that are going to hold you accountable, because it is a hard journey being a writer, and it is easy to quit and give up. Some people start their manuscripts and never finish because it's hard. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But again, God has called you to it. He's going to see you through it. I'm going to keep saying that. God has called you to it. He's going to see you through it. And so he's put everything you need to write that book on the inside of you. It's already there. All you have to do is do the work and putting it out and pulling it out. Talks about it in 1 Timothy, I believe it is. Talks about how Paul was telling Timothy to fan into flame the gift that he'd been given. It's up to us to do the work. If we're not doing the work, our gifts, they're not returnable. He's not going to take away from us, but they'll become weakened. They won't be as strengthened as they should be. And so, just find people you trust. You can't tell everybody your business. I understand that. But find what you can trust, who are going to hold you accountable. Even people that you can just, shoot a short summary to. I remember when I was writing my book, my best friend I mentioned earlier, I would just send 2 pages, say, hey, how does this make you feel? Is this right? What is your opinion about this? You need those people that are going to help you. No one can write a book on their own. You need community.
Hey, you. Need accountability to get your book started? Are you tired of fear, doubt, and shame trying to hold you back? Join the Heal the Writer group as we go on a 12-week journey to become the writer that God has called you to be. If this is you, hit the link in the bio.